on the YouTube page, and we're going to be building a princess cover today. We are going to be using Photoshop CC. I've got a Wacom Intuos Pro editing tablet that we're going to be using, and I will be using my blue light blocking glasses. And today we've got a little bit of a special thing going on because I'm actually filming a little bit of this because we're doing a vlog for the Instagram IGTV channel. So here we go. We're going to dive in and we are going to get started on this. So I am just going to go ahead and I am going to, oh, I see. I was up on screen like that the whole time. My bad. I was so busy trying to get this done. All right, let me go ahead. I'm going to pull up my Photoshop and we are going to get started. If you've got questions or comments along the way, I would love to get those answered for you. Feel free to hit me up with those. And first things first, we're going to put our princess in here and we are going to cut her out and make sure she is shaped properly for this. So I'm just using my quick selection tool, and that's actually done a very nice job of cutting that out. I'm just holding down the Option key to remove the background in between her arm, and it definitely got part of her dress, so I'm just using my lasso tool, holding my shift button down to then add that back in, and I'm just going to put a layer mask over it to remove this. Now, because it did cut off part of her, I do have to make sure she's against my edge. So this is going to be very important when I am deciding if this is going to be like a paperback thing or not a paperback thing. If this is a dust jacket, we're going to have to actually build this out. But right now, we're just selling the straight paperback version of this. So at that point, the next thing that I'm going to do is actually add in my background, and then we're going to do a little bit of zhuzhing for this because I think I actually want to switch this. So I'm just going up to Edit, down to Transform, down to Flip Horizontally. And I kind of like that, but I think we're going to have to do a little bit of work on it. Sophie, hello. Thanks for joining. We're doing a princess cover today, and I'm super excited. And I'm doing actually a little bit of a behind the scenes because I am filming a vlog on this for you guys. So before I do anything with my background, I am going to go in. I'm going to grab a hard round brush, 100% opacity, and I am just going to zoom in really, really far. And I am just going to remove any of the pixelation and haloing around my princess here. And I want you to start thinking of potential titles for this one. So this is a princess book. I think it's going to be a princess book unless we like take her evil or something. And I am just kind of right now going around her skin and her dress and removing anything that has like pixelation, anything that's kind of weird or has like a halo effect. We're just zhuzhing this a little bit. And I am just going around the edge. Should we change her dress color? Let me know. What do you think? I kind of love the blue, but do you think we should do something else? Let me know. You're not seeing me? Me as a person, or do you see my photoshopping? Can you tell me? I'm going to hit the refresh button. Please tell me if you can see me or the photoshopping. Hi guys, can you hear me? Can you see me? Let me know. Let me know what's going on. If you still have a black screen, please tell me. Please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and show this, and I am going to move it. You can see me. Okay. We can't see your screen. You can't see my Photoshop? Can you see it now? Let me know, guys. Let me know if you can see it. Now we can't see you. What? The photoshopping thing you can't see at all? Oh my goodness. We can see and hear you, but can you see my Photoshop? Please let me know. I'm going to keep going around on my halo and just let me know what you can and cannot see. And I will check in on that in just a second. I'm just going to keep working so that we don't have massive dead air time. Haha, you know the drill. Apparently, there's some stuff going on with the internet today. This is like the third time that this has happened today. So we know that there's a lot of places getting some really bad storms right now. Unfortunately, it's hitting me tomorrow. So I know other people in the area have been having issues as well. Some of them have been without power for days. You can see everything. Thank goodness. I'm glad that you're back. Hello, everyone. Hi. We're doing a princess story here. I'm excited. I can see that my background does not go all the way down to the bottom, so I am just going to make that a little bit bigger there. And then I'm going to come right on up to the top, and I am going to play with her hair because that did not go super well when we cut her out. So I am just going to go ahead and remove some of this. There we go. Any of the weird pixelation around here, any of the things they don't like sticking out the way that they are. We are going to draw some hair back into this, but I just wanted to kind of clean this up just a little bit. And I'm just removing some of the pixelation around her face, her forehead, all those things. I think I'm pretty good. All right, let me back myself right on up here so that you can see what we are working with today. We are going to be zhuzhing this just a little bit, and I'm glad that everybody can see everything. Perfect. Okay. Now that we're all here and we're all together on the same page, I'm super excited to see all of you. I need to fix my background. I don't like it. So I kind of like this castle, but I do need to build it out just a little bit. Maybe I want to... Let me see. What do I want? Well, do I like the castle there? I'm not sure. It looks kind of a little bit on the strange side. So maybe I do like it kind of like this. Maybe it's more so the tree line that I like. There we go. There we go. That's not bad. I do want to remove some of those buildings down there. They're looking kind of like little town. It's a quiet village. And so I am going to... I'm going to come in here with my spot heal tool. Sorry, that was wrong. My spot heal tool. I don't know what just happened there. Okay. Something's up with my tool. Hang on. Okay, there we go. I glitched out at some point. I'm just removing the buildings by using the spot heal tool. It just picks up the data around it and replaces it inside of it. So now I've got my pretty clear mountains. I'm just going to remove that tree right there that's kind of sticking out of her shoulder a little bit. And because it doesn't like it with the spot heal, I am going to come in with my clone tool. So just on 100% opacity, I am just going to clone that away. So the next thing, if you look over to the left side of my screen, you're going to see a weird line there. That's where I duplicated that layer. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put a white layer mask on there. And on a soft round brush, 100% opacity, I am just coming up really big on a black brush, and I'm just painting off where I don't like that. And that just blended in beautifully. Like that wasn't even a thing. So we've got some cool stuff going on here. And I want title ideas. Go ahead and let me know. Where do I get my imagery? Well, for my custom covers, a lot of the time I shoot my own imagery. I'm a professional photographer and videographer. So we actually do things so that people don't have the same models on their covers all the time, because we hate it when that happens. But for people who just use pre-made covers, they don't typically want to spend the money to get models to have a custom look. So we use from different various stock images. And then I typically kind of change my models to make them look a little bit different, because we don't want it looking like every book has the same model, because that happens a lot. So we like to fix that quite a bit. Okay, so the next thing I'm seeing is I think I'm gonna have to resize her, actually, because thinking logically, we're gonna have to put a title. Well, I mean, I could put the title down low. Get those title ideas to me. That might be my next step. I'm gonna come in and I'm going to do a little bit of work on that background. So I'm just using my spot heal tool, and I'm just any weird light areas. I'm seeing like some things I don't necessarily like. I'm just coming in and cleaning those up like I would blemishes on scan. I'm just kind of tapping on it with that spot heal tool, and I'm just removing anything that I don't like. For this, you can kind of see like some of the houses there on the background. So I'm just darkening that up there. Any like, what are those telephone poles? We're removing those. We don't need those. I keep finding covers, like fantasy covers, and people leave like vinyl banners and stuff in them. Whew, it's a thing. So I'm just cleaning that up to make sure we kind of remove the modern-ish elements there. Okay. Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys being here. We're creating a princess cover today. We're going to go very, like, princessy. And I'm just kind of coming in here and changing this up a little bit. We can actually kind of do some fun things with her headpiece if we want. We can kind of, well, maybe we will. Maybe we will. Keep those title ideas coming. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And what I actually want to do right now, I'm just going to use my quick selection tool. And I'm going to grab part of her earring here. And I'm going to just use my lasso tool. I'm going to hold my option button down to deselect it. And I'm going to remove part of it. And then I'm just going to click copy. And that gives me that little curly piece here that I can then bring up and I can add to different parts of her hair piece if I wanted to. We can kind of build this out so that it looks different and more unique. We're going to do a little bit of blend work there, but we'll get there. And we're just going to kind of add that in to different places just to kind of make it a little more on the unique side. I like this. That works for me. We can even, if we wanted, we can make one of these smaller and attach it to that top one there. Which actually, now that I see it, I don't like that, so that's going to go away. All good, all good. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to save this. I actually can't remember. I think I changed the number on this, but I just want to, real quick, just in case, change that up there. And then, did I move something? Ah, I see what happened. Sometimes I move things inadvertently with the auto select, and I thought I had, but I actually hadn't. So before I go any further, what I actually want to do is I'm going to put a layer, just a blank layer there. I'm going to pick up the color of her hair. So I'm going to use my color picker tool, and I'm just going to grab that because if you notice, it's not actually black. It's like a navy tone. So I am just going to grab my brush on 1 pixel, and I'm just going to start kind of like sweeping over. And I don't like the angle I went at there. So I'm just going to, like, along with the way her hair is going, I'm just going to sweep some sections over parts of this as if they are stray hairs. So we don't want to go too much into this, but we do, of course, we know that, you know, these things are going to get wrapped around these little jewels. So we kind of want to blend them in just a little bit. We're going to go over the blue jewels as well, just to make sure everything, you know, makes sense. They have very clearly hairsprayed her very well. With this, but we just kind of want to make it a little more believable. So we're just swooping this in just a little bit here. I hate what I just did, so I'm just backstepping a little bit. There we go. I'm at a terrible angle for this. There we go. Okay. Sometimes, unfortunately, you just get like really bad angles, and because you're on a computer and a Wacom Intuos Pro editing tablet, you can't turn it to get to the angle that you want it at. So we're just kind of like adding in little pieces of hair. We might get a little bit of hair down here as well, kind of fill this out just a little bit. And get those little tendrils of hair. While we're at it, we're also going to go ahead and we're going to do it up by the top of her little bump on her head. I don't know what we call that. Ladies, help me. But I'm just going to fill in along the top just a little bit as well. You can see we've got the guidelines going on here, so those are super fun. We always love those guidelines. They get in the way, but it also helps us to know where we are going to be doing and where we can put things and can't put things. And so we're just filling in some of those flyaways up here. And you know what? Some of these flyaways need to be a lighter color, so I'm just going to grab my color picker tool, and apparently we're going blue. All right, I see you. We're going to go ahead and we are going to fill in some of those little bumps there, and we'll be good to go. And then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to back off so we can take a look at what we are working with. So we've kind of filled that in nicely. I kind of like how this looks. And I am going to check in with you guys because it's giving you Cinderella vibes. I know. We're going to color tone this in a minute. And we're going to like really go deep on this one. So I'm very excited for this one. The Royalty Crown, the Dark Crown, Kingdom, Royal Purity. My brain is on cold meds. You're funny. Forbidden Princess. Oh, Sophie coming in strong. Something great. Okay. Look at you guys. Keep going. I love it. I am going to go ahead and I am going to put all of my layers connected to my model inside one folder, and I'm just going to label them so that I know where they are. That way I can turn things on and off and do all the fun, fabulous things that I need to do, should I need to do them, and we've got that in here. Next step that I want to do is I actually want to color tone my background, not necessarily my model, but my background. So I'm going to come into my different options, and I'm going to go down to my curves panel. Oh, I love my curves panel. I'm going to go from RGB down to blue, and then I'm going to be able to slide it to the right or to the left on the graph, and it's going to either add in blue or it's going to add in the opposite, yellow. So y'all with the color wheel over here, you can know what the opposite is going to be. You can even do your little S curve. That's a photography term where you kind of bend the curve a little bit to look a little S-like, and you can kind of see how it just changed that entirely. Let me just toggle that on and off Ooh, pretty. Okay, I need to hear from you. Should we go more toward the blue tones or more toward the yellow tones? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're at that, I'm going to go in and add a brightness and contrast panel. I'm going to bump up my contrast dramatically, and then I'm actually going to bump up my brightness just a touch, just a little bit. I'm actually kind of sort of liking this. I'm not 100% positive if I want to go to the yellow or to the blue side, but let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, so next thing that I want to do, I'm going to take a look at those title ideas that you guys have sent in. We're going to pop a title on here, and then we're going to base everything else around that. So I am going to come in, see what we've got going on here. Forbidden Princess. Yeah, I'm liking Forbidden Princess as well. So let me go ahead and let me actually just duplicate my author name here. We're going to find a good text for this one. Princess is usually more along the floofy side of things, the more scripted side. So I am going to, forbidden, I am going to go ahead and type in one word on each line so that we have the ability to move things around as we need to. We can actually, and the cool thing is we can do like a harsher font with a scriptier font because it doesn't always have to be the same. So forbidden there might actually be okay. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write princess, and then I'm going to go and see if I can find a floofier font. You guys know these fonts are the bane of my existence. I hate doing fonts on the live streams because it takes forever to find good ones, and I can't really do too much manipulation with them while we are on air as I would for a custom cover. So I just kind of go through and I look for things that are a little bit more on the scripty side for this, that don't look too handmade. And I'm just not loving what I'm seeing. But we will find something. That's wow. Sometimes I see fonts and I'm just like, oh, wow, okay. I'm just kind of cruising through here. It takes forever to find these. There's like so many options that I've got. And I am just seeing what might work. We want to make sure it's thicker, like these very thin fonts. Those are going to be hard to read. So we want to make sure that it's more of a scripted thing, but it is definitely going to be wider so that people can easily see it. And that one, that's hard to read. That is hard to read. So I'm going to come in and I am going to look for something better that is not quite like that or that. And I'm just, okay, that's not terrible. Let me see how that looks. Let me make this bigger. Oh, that's not bad. That's not terrible. I want to try something. Let me try this and see if this works. I'm going to duplicate this layer so that I don't mess it up. And I'm just going to rotate it just a little bit so that it's not super centered. I kind of like that. And then I would actually, if this is what I'm going to do, I want to bump it up just a little bit so that it's not down in the author name. But I kind of like how that looks. What do you guys think? Are we liking this? I think I'm liking this. And so at that point, if this is what I'm going to be doing, I brilliantly did not change the straight layer so that I can just duplicate this, turn it on, and then I have the ability to rotate that, go into edit, down to transform, down to rotate 90 degrees clockwise, and bring it right over to my spine so I don't even have to waste time later on doing that. Look at how easily that worked out to my benefit. Yes, we love that. And so I just drop that right in here, adjust that just a little bit, and we've got it on the spine. Fantastic. We love it. I'm loving on this. Let me know what you guys are thinking for this so far. Now, I'm thinking we might need to work on our lighting a little bit. Y'all know I like my lighting. I could potentially make this a little magical. Should we turn this into a fantasy story, or should we leave it where it is? Let me know. We could add some like magical zhuzhing around this. Let's see. I'm just taking stock of what we've got right now. And so I think I'm going to actually do a little bit of color correcting. At the moment, I'm going to come down and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to search for my layer with my model on it. I'm going to grab a brightness and contrast panel and use my clipping mask to attach it right to that layer. And I'm going to bump up my contrast just a little bit. You can see how it's turning her a little bit on the yellow side. It's not terrible, but I might want to come in and grab my curves panel. And again, with the clipping mask, go in from RGB over to blue and just tweak it over to the blue side a little bit. We don't want to make her ghost like that's too much. Backing that off. We're just removing a little bit of that blue tone. So let me turn that on and off. You can kind of see how we are removing the yellow tone, not the blue tone. And so we're just removing that. And I actually don't want it everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and click on the layer mask. And then on a soft round brush at probably 100% opacity, I'm just going to paint it off of some of her skin where I don't want the yellow removed. So just on the harsher yellow parts, we're going to have that in there. Nice. I love the slightly light in the darkness dystopian vibes we're getting here. Right? I'm liking it. Okay. So I'm just looking at this right now. Potentially I could leave it like this. Like that could be a thing. But I'm almost thinking I want to play with my lighting a little bit. I am going to duplicate my author name real fast because I don't have that on the spine yet. So I'm just going to go into Edit, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And then I am just going to hit Command T for transform, and I'm just going to make it smaller, and I'm going to drop this right on the spine. As always, you know, this spine will be changing based on the size of the book that the author writes who buys this cover, which, by the way, you can buy right now for only $100 while I'm on air. The second I go off air, this goes up to $250 at least over at coveraday.com. So if this is something you want, now is the time. You have to tell me that you're going to grab it, and then you get 50 minutes to do the PayPal. All the terms and services is over on coveraday.com, so you can check that out if you need to, because you would like this. I'm going to come in, and I am going to... I'm just looking through my flares right now to decide what I might like to work with, and I'm looking for one specifically because I have an idea that I want to try. So I need to come down in my layers to under where my model is, and I'm just going to add this in here. Change my blend mode to screen. Ooh. And then the question is, do I want that here like this? This is obviously very, very bright. So I would go into filter, down to blur, down to Gaussian blur, and I'm going to bump up my blurriness on this so that we don't have those harsh lines, but we do have that. And I could potentially resize that. I'm just playing with my my blur right now. Sorry, y'all. Took me a second there. And I'm just changing this. Maybe put it up a little higher. Not loving that. Potentially liking it over here, though. You can see where that rectangle is that I put on there. So I want to make sure I've added a layer mask. And then on a 100% soft round brush black, I am going to just move around those lines and fill that in just a little bit. So I like how it makes that pop on the spine. I like how it adds a little bit of light and color to the front cover. You're supposed to be writing, but you're watching this instead. And a little bit of shading on the model to bring her into the background. Well, that really depends on where the lighting is coming from. So if the lighting is coming from behind her, you want her more focused here. So you are actually going to have some lighting coming down here based on where those shadows are for her. We don't want to make this too dark, because if you make it too dark, it's going to print like a blob. So you have to be very, very careful with that. So you don't want to do too much shading, especially on a flat lit model. So you can kind of see where the light is coming from a little bit over her shoulder, because if you look at her spine, or her shoulder blades is the word I was getting for, you can kind of see how it has some shadows there. So we are actually going to go ahead, and I'm going to show you a fun little thing that we can do. I'm going to go up to layer, new layer. I'm going to do a burn layer, which you guys are going to enjoy. I'm going to switch my color down to gray, and then I'm going to switch my mode down to soft light and click fill with that neutral density. I am then going to grab my burn tool, and I am just going to come in, and I'm just going to enhance those shadows along her back, her inner arm, on her dress. We're going to pull these in. We're just going to kind of shade some of those a little bit. So you can kind of see how this is pulling this in just a little bit. We're going to shade under her neck a little bit, around her hair just a little bit, maybe her cheekbone a little bit. We're going to define that a little bit, get a little bit in the hair. And let me turn this on and off so you can see how that shading works. Now that we've got the shading there, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go up to layer, down to new, down to layer. We're going to label this dodge. And we are going to, again, go down to gray, down to soft light, down to fill with neutral density. And we're going to grab our dodge tool. Burn is for dark, dodge is for light. Wherever we put that shadow, we also want to complement that with a little bit of light. So anywhere that there's a shadow, there's going to be a highlight next to it. We're going to fill this in just a little bit. And we're going to really like play up the cheekbones. We're going to play up some of the hair. This is what I use on hair a lot to make hair shiny. So whenever you see like super shiny hair, it could potentially be the person. It could potentially be the lighting that you've got. But also that sneaky little trick is dodge and burn. So if you see it, that could potentially be why. And so I'm just filling in along this dress. I had thought of actually making this like her standing closer or further away so we see more of her body and actually building out the dress. But I decided I kind of liked this like close-up look to it. So real quick, this is my light that I'm turning on and off for you guys so you can see where those highlights are now. And this is very much taking it to a romance cover look. Let me go ahead and put these real quick into a folder and turn off the look for you so you can see how we've really shaped her body and we've changed it. So the shoulder blades are much more intense. Her cheekbones are much more intense. Her arm is a little bit skinnier now, and we've got that dress way more defined. But you can kind of see how that pulls that in there, which is kind of cool. Now, I do want to make sure we are kind of like pulling this together. So as always, I'm going to come up to the top. I'm going to grab a brightness and contrast panel, and I am just going to slide this in because you can see how it very strongly starts to put this together. And because I just added the brightness there, it actually makes her body a little bit too bright, but we like the background. So what I'm going to do is just kind of lasso that one section. And then I'm just going to pull down the brightness and up the contrast. And then I'm just going to grab my soft round brush 100% opacity white and fill that in anywhere on her skin, anywhere on her dress that I need to kind of tone down some of that coloring. But I didn't actually want to do it in everywhere. There we go. Let's go ahead and let's add some highlights to her hair because I feel like that's going to be a fun thing for us to do. I haven't done dodge and burning with you guys in a good long minute. That used to be everybody's favorite thing before all you TikTok people joined me. So I'm going to come in and I am just going to zoom in to like 160% so that I can see her hair. Let me go back just a little bit. Let me try 120. There, that's a little bit better. I can get most of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add in a layer, new layer. And we're going to go to gray and we're going to go to soft light. We're going to go to the neutral density. Oops, I missed my neutral density. One more time, layer, new, layer, down to gray, down to soft light, down to my fill with neutral density. And then I'm going to grab, interestingly, I'm going to go with my light first, then I'm going to pull in my darkness. So I'm just going to go kind of small to go with the strands. And I'm just going to paint in some light. We're just going to follow these strands of light. Anywhere that the strands of hair actually go, you can just swoop in your light. And as you're doing this, you don't have to go super intense because if you want to go super intense, all you have to do is duplicate the layers. So just get that main original layer of this down, and then you are just going to duplicate those layers if you need to. So I am just kind of doing this sweeping effect around here. And this is really nice, especially when there's like updos involved, because you can show those many facets of the different layers of the strands of hair and really pull this in very nicely together. So this is really good if you're a photographer for when you're working with brides on their wedding day and they've got those fancy hairstyles. This is a great way to really show off just how much work went into those. And we're just going to kind of highlight some of this as we go. And then again, if we want, we can duplicate the layer to like really intensify that. We can even lower the opacity if it's a little bit too much. But you can kind of see how now all of a sudden we've got the dark hair and we've got those light strands that we've put in there that really, really show off her hair. I'm going to lower that opacity just a little bit more because now it looks a little on the gray side, which we don't want too much of. Then I am going to go up to layer, down to new layer. We are going to add in a gray layer, soft light, fill with my 50% neutral color, and I'm going to grab my burn tool. And again, what have we learned? Anywhere that we add in the light, we're also adding in the shadows next to it to intensify it and really add a lot of depth. So I am coming in Anywhere I see shadows, anywhere I see those natural shadows, the natural darkness, we are just going to add in all of this great shadow and depth, which I love. I'm going to kind of go over the top here. Anywhere that I'm seeing like those light colors, I just want to complement it with the dark, really fill it in so that we have those beautiful, beautiful highlights in her hair. I'm going to go actually a little bit bigger on a lot of my darkness here to really fill out those highlights. But then I'm also going to get in here and I'm going to go very, very small around those strands to really just highlight it. And then if I want at the end, I can kind of just tone it in by going on a very large brush and just tapping anywhere where it's a tiny bit intense. We're just going to power that down just a little bit. And then let me back this off for you guys just a little. Let me come down to 100% opacity. I'm going to put all these babies inside of a folder, and we're just going to turn that on and off, and you can see how we've very clearly defined her hair there. Let's see what this is. Oh, that's the shadows on her. Shadow on her. And then this would be shadow on hair. I'm just labeling my folders so that I know what's what. Let me back this up. And now let me turn this on and off. Watch her hair. This is what we're talking about here. So that's with it on. This is with it off. We've got the blob of hair here. It's going to print like it's just like this black blob. But now we have clearly defined it. We've got those strands of hair, and it really stands out very, very nicely. And if we wanted, we could even come in and we could kind of color tone those with some yellows or with some blues if we wanted to. But I kind of like how this is looking right here. I kind of like this little bit of light. There's one thing I want to look at. And here we go. I am just pulling in another flare because I want a little bit of this like flariness to it. So I'm just going to click my screen over, or change my blend mode over to screen. I'm going to rotate this just a little bit because I kind of just want part of this in here and I don't want the whole thing. So I'm just going to leave it right there. And then I'm going to come up to filter down to my Gaussian blur. And I am going to bump this up, not quite so much. So I still want a little bit of that shape to be, there we go. That's what I want. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I don't want the intensity of this, so I'm going to put that layer mask over there. I'm going to grab my soft round brush, 100% opacity, and I am just going to remove anything I don't necessarily want. And you can kind of see how that looks right there. Maybe I do want to fill that in just a little bit. There we go. And I'm just anywhere that I don't want it. Maybe I did want it like that. Okay. And I'm just going to lower my opacity just a touch because I don't want it super, super bold. There we go. There we go. There, we like that. Isn't it pretty? I think it's very, very pretty. I'm liking how this is turning out. I don't necessarily like, I think it's like a river down at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go below my girl layer. And I'm just going to put a blank layer there. I'm going to go into my gradient tool, make sure it is color over transparent and linear. And then my color is just going to be black. And I'm just going to, because I switched it and it didn't switch. Hang on, hitting the back button. There we go. Let's try that one more time. And we're just going to add our gradient in there. It's just going to get rid of it right there. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So then at that point, we've got this pretty, pretty cover. We could add in some flares if we want. Maybe I will add a little bit of flare over the title. So let me come up to the top. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to go into my brush panel, and I'm going to grab a brush. If you are here joining me, I see there's a bunch of you here hanging out with me today. Hello and hi. I'm glad that you're here. Feel free to ask questions if you've got them. We're actually wrapping up because we powered through this super fast today, which is good because I actually have to go pick up my car from the garage before the storm hits. And so I'm just going to come down. I'm looking for my flare brushes. I'm just looking in the massive things that I have here. And I'm just looking for my flare brush, which is apparently a little hard for me to find today. Or a lot hard for me to find today. Where on earth is my flare? There we go. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's the way. That's the way. I'm going to just look for the flare brush that I want. That is the one that I want. I'm going to switch it over to a white flare brush, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to tap it anywhere, doesn't matter where, because I am then going to have that on a layer that I can just kind of move around as I need it. And maybe I don't want that, or maybe I do. I'm going to come into my layer, go down to layer style, down to outer glow. I'm going to pick a color. I'm going to think That yellow might be my color, but it could be a blue that I need. We'll find out. I'm just going to make it kind of like a golden-y color there. And I'm just going to change up my opacity a little bit. Maybe I don't want it quite so intense, or maybe I do. Maybe I want to make it a little smaller. That could be it too. And so I'm just going to kind of add that to some of my letters here. I'm going to duplicate the layer and put it maybe up there as well. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. We like that. And then let me try right. We're just seeing where it's going to fall. There we go. Oh, that's pretty. Yep, I'm liking this. I am liking this. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. You're loving it. Oh, I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. I am liking this. I like how this is looking. I could potentially add in some little sparkles here, but I almost think I like it like this. So at that point, I could potentially like add stuff to the background here, but I feel like this very simplistic cover is going to work really, really well for this book, whatever this book is. Again, if you want to buy it, this is your last chance. We're signing off in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, it goes over to coveraday.com where I am going to be putting all of the covers. I'm going to save this real quick as we're talking. All these covers are over on coveraday.com right now. You can custom covers over there. You can get pre-made covers over there. There's hundreds of them available to you, but this is our Forbidden Princess cover for today. Let me know what type of cover you would like to see next week. Should we do a dystopian? Should we do a couple? Should we do a paranormal? Should we do another princess? Should we do, what? Let me know. Let me know what you would like to see. As always, you can grab these over at coveraday.com. And I thank you all for joining me today. This has been lots and lots of fun. This will head over to coveraday.com once probably when I get back from picking up my car, but usually right after the live stream. And we will continue to do this every single Wednesday as we create a book cover live on air. Thank you all so much for your input today. I do appreciate all the great ideas and suggestions. Let me know what type of cover do you want to see next week, and I will see you in the next live stream. I hope that you all are doing super well and that the weather that is affecting a lot of the country is not affecting you too much. I'm supposed to be getting power outages tomorrow, so I will keep you all posted on what's going on. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next live stream. Until then, have a great day and stay inspired. Bye, friends.